This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Today in the headlines, in the Philippines, a well-known former ally of the Marcoses has spoken out against the administration over accusations against former President Rodrigo Duterte. According to him, these allegations against Duterte is just a smokescreen for Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s real issues. Meanwhile, amid the intense political situation in the country, many are calling for Vice President Sara Duterte to separate from Bongbong Marcos, but a former cabinet member said it is not yet time. In other stories, China has cautioned Japan regarding its stance on the Taiwan issue. Beijing has once again urged Japan to respect the One China principle. I'm Angel Pastor. Newsline World starts now. A well-known former ally of the Marcoses has spoken out against the administration over accusations against former President Rodrigo Duterte, particularly regarding an alleged gentleman's agreement. What is this about? Jade Calabroso for the details.
Several former allies of the Marcoses are now openly speaking out against the administration of President Bongbong Marcos Jr. Among them is Attorney Glenn Chong, a former prominent supporter of Marcos who filed an election protest against Leni Robredo in the 2016 elections. In an online program, Chong stated that the emphasis on former President Rodrigo Duterte's alleged gentleman's agreement with China is being used as a smokescreen to cover up the country's real problems and Marcos's personal interests.
Ito yung smokescreen. Ito yung totoong smokescreen. Itong mga akusasyon nila laban kay President Duterte, ito yung smokescreen para mapagtakpan in the hopes na mapagtakpan yung issue na hinaharap ngayon ni Mr. Marcos Jr.
One of the explosive issues is the involvement of Marcos' name in illegal drugs, first mentioned by former President Duterte. Recently, the Senate opened an investigation into PIDEA leaks, where Marcos Jr.'s name was also mentioned in a pre-operation report by PIDEA in 2012. When Marcos was asked if this was true, he simply laughed instead of directly denying or admitting his involvement in illegal drugs. Chong emphasized that the Marcos administration's actions against the former president are unfair.
Alam naman natin yung administrasyon ni Marcos, si President Duterte ang ginagawang boogeyman eh.
Oh, boogeyman nga.
Ginagawang boogeyman eh, pananakot sa taong bayan eh. That's not fair to the former president.
Chong further added that in the heated issue of the alleged new model agreement, Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos, the former Westcom chief, has become a scapegoat.
Ang nakikita ko dyan, si Admiral Carlos ang ginawang scapegoat.
Bakit?
I don't think that he will bind the country to any agreement without the prior approval of his superiors.
In the issue of the new model agreement, China claims to have an agreement with the Philippines for smooth resupply missions in the West Philippine Sea, particularly at Ayungin Shoal. However, the Philippines denied this. Subsequently, China released an allegedly wiretapped audio conversation between Carlos and a Chinese diplomat. Carlos denied any secret deal. After this, he stepped down as Westcom chief and filed a leave of absence for personal reasons. Meanwhile, the current administration's approach to diplomatic relations with China is far different from the official stance during the time of former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Jade Calabroso, SMNA News.
The provincial local government units of Batanes have received assistance from the Office of Civil Defense, a crucial step in readiness for the approaching La Niña. MJ Mondihar has the report.
The Philippines is known for being disaster-prone due to its location in the Pacific Ring of Fire and Typhoon Belt. Each year, at least 20 typhoons enter the Philippine area of responsibility, along with the possibility of volcanic eruptions. In relation to this, Pag-asa has announced the onset of the rainy season and the threat of La Niña. The Office of the Civil Defense is now preparing to mitigate the damage caused by harsh weather. The OCD emphasizes the importance of continuous improvement and cooperation for preparedness. The provincial local government units of Batanes have received a donation from the OCD to prepare for La Niña. The donation, valued at over 8 million pesos, includes non-food items assistance. According to Civil Defense Administrator Undersecretary Ariel Nepomuceno, Batanes is frequently hit by strong typhoons. Thus, being prepared before La Nina strikes is crucial. Key to this preparation is the pre-positioning of relief goods and other necessary equipment for immediate use in times of need. Accompanying the non-food items are family packs, shelter repair kits, and hygiene kits benefiting over 400 families. Additionally, 7 generator sets were donated to ensure government operations continue smoothly during disasters. For Ganamabalo of Philippines, I'm Jay Mondihap, SMNI News.
A geopolitical analyst explains the Philippine government's opposition to former Westcom chief's talks with China. Details in Carlo de la Peña's report.
Kaya ako nga po pinasok yung American element po dito. Dahil meron tayong mga gumagalaw in behalf of the Americans within our government. This is of course an old problema ng dekada na po ito. Yung tinatawag nating amboys, pero ang bagong pangalan, US proxies.
Hermanju Laurel, a geopolitical analyst, explained why former Westcom Chief Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos denied having an agreement with a Chinese official regarding the alleged New Model Agreement. Laurel stated that what he referred to as US proxies do not want tensions in the South China Sea to decrease, as it would undermine their justification for maintaining EDCA sites in the country.
Habang may tensyon, may dahilan po sila na sabihin ay kailangan natin ng tulong ng military ng Estados Unidos, etc. etc. Sa likod ng lahat ng mga ito, yan po ang nag-ooperate doon sa mga anino, sa shadows ng mga actors.
Laurel further mentioned that the Psy-War experts behind this issue are also pushing to establish the existence of a secret agreement between former President Rodrigo Duterte and Chinese President Xi Jinping, even though this claim is false.
Kasi lahat ng mga agreements po, gentleman's agreement or formal written agreement ni Presidente Duterte, ay recorded po yan sa Department of Foreign Affairs. Si Presidente Duterte hindi marunong mag-Chinese, mag-Mandarin. So pag siya ay nagpapaliwanag at nakikiusap kay Presidente Xi Jinping, may translator. No? So recorded yan ng translator.
Regarding Carlos's denial of any agreement with the Chinese official, Laurel also explained that
this was also a formal discussion. So there are no secret agreements. Yung usapan ni Admiral Carlos with Senior Colonel Lee, formal na discussion dito din ito kasi pareho silang may rango, pareho silang may posisyon sa gobyernong kanilang kinakatawan at their level.
it can be recalled from a Senate hearing that Carlos denied having an agreement with the Chinese officials. However, they did discuss methods to reduce tension in the disputed territory in the West Philippine Sea. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
Up next, the government of Japan meanwhile slammed Russia with the latest round of sanctions for allegedly buying weapons from North Korea used in its war in Ukraine. And the late president of Iran was laid to rest in his hometown as days of funeral rites attended by thousands of mourners and world leaders from dozens of countries have finally come to an end. Newsline World will be back after the break. Amid the intense political situation in the Philippines, is it time for Vice President Sara Duterte to separate from President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.? This seems to be the call of some Filipinos, but a former cabinet member gave his reaction to this. Amid calls from those in politics for Vice President Sara Duterte to step down from her post, as well as from being Education Secretary, some of Duterte's supporters are calling for her to separate from President Marcos Jr. But former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Attorney Salvador Panelo firmly said VP Sara can still do a lot more, especially as Education Secretary, which is why he said she should remain in her position.
Number one, alam po ninyo, si Inday Sara bilang kalihim ng edukasyon ng departamento, maraming magagawa sa ating mga estudyante. Kaya nandyan pa siya. Dahil hindi naman sila nagkakaaway pa naman ni Principal PBBM. So, she will stay there. Para sa akin, diyan ka lang. Marami kang magagawa pa dyan. Now, kung dumating sa panahon na meron siyang, ang presidente may programa na talagang labag sa iyong paniniwala, that's the time na kailangan na kayo maghiwalay. Sa ngayon naman mukhang hindi.
It can be remembered that VP Sara's trust ratings remain high. In fact, she is the most trusted government official according to surveys. Even the Department of Education, which she heads, remains the most trusted government agency in the first quarter of 2024. The government of Japan slammed Russia with the latest round of sanctions for allegedly buying weapons from North Korea used in its war in Ukraine. Carlo de la Peña has the details.
Japan's latest round of sanctions targeted 9 groups and 1 individual linked to Russia, as well as 2 companies from Cyprus. The sanctioned groups and companies were accused of buying weapons from North Korea. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi said that the government strongly condemns arms transfers to Russia from North Korea, which violate related UN Security Council resolutions. The sanctions also covered 7 North Korean individuals and 2 Russian vessels over weapons trade and other activities between Pyongyang and Moscow. On April 17th, Japan's Trade Ministry enforced an export ban on 164 additional industrial items from Russia, such as lithium-ion batteries, gas pipes, and car engine oil. In March, Tokyo applied an export ban on 29 Russian organizations to show a united front with other group of 7 nations. Japan has imposed countless sanctions against Russia since Moscow invaded Ukraine in February 2022. Reporting, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
China has cautioned Japan regarding its stance on the Taiwan issue. Hannah Jane Sancho reports.
Japan faces severe repercussions if it oversteps its relationship with Taiwan or supports the advocated Taiwan independence. This warning comes directly from a spokesperson of Chinese Foreign Ministry recently. The statement by Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin follows Tokyo's comment that Beijing's position on the Taiwan issue was deemed extremely inappropriate.
台湾问题是中国核心利益中的核心，事关中日关系政治基础，是不可逾越的红线。日方一些人近期在涉台问题上消极动向频出，持续鼓噪台湾有事就是日本有事，这样荒谬且危险的论调，严重违背中日4个政治文件精神和日方所作承诺。吴江浩大使的有关表态基于事实，义正辞严，语重心长，完全是正当必要。
It's noteworthy that Beijing has repeatedly threatened Taiwan over action by its new president Lai Ching-te, considered separatist acts or actions demonstrating independence from mainland China. Friday marks the 2nd day of Beijing's ongoing military drill around Taiwan, seen as a punishment while China strongly asserts Taiwan remains its territory. This has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SMNI News.
The late president of Iran was laid to rest in his hometown as days of funeral rites attended by thousands of mourners and world leaders from dozens of countries have finally come to an end. Melchizedek Cadiz files this report.
Assalamualaikum. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi was buried at the Imam Reza Shrine in the city of Mashhad, the holiest Shiite shrine in the country, days after a tragic helicopter crash killed him and other senior officials in northwest Iran. State media claimed 3 million mourners had attended the funeral ceremonies in the capital Tehran, while 500 mosques had been prepared to welcome people across Mashhad, the hometown city of Raisi. High-ranking officials from at least 68 countries attended a ceremony in Tehran on Wednesday to pay respect to the late Iranian leader and his companions who died from a helicopter crash near the Azerbaijan border. World leaders from Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iraq, and Armenia, as well as representatives from Iran-backed groups that formed the so-called Axis of Resistance, were in attendance. No Western leaders attended the ceremony. Raisi and his companions were returning from Azerbaijan after attending an inauguration of a dam when the tragic incident occurred on Sunday. Some officials in Iran and Russia blamed the U.S. sanctions that hindered the country's ability to renew and repair its decades-old fleet, which Washington said was utterly baseless. The government warned residents from posting videos celebrating Raisi's death after several footages circulated online, according to media reports. The 63-year-old had widely been expected to succeed 85-year-old Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who led prayers for the late president's funeral in Tehran on Wednesday. Rafael Grossi, the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, said the UN nuclear watchdog wants to re-engage with Iran to improve cooperation once the mourning period is over. The nuclear chief visited the Islamic Republic earlier this month to revive talks on cooperation and address concerns about the country's nuclear program. Once the 5-day mourning ends, Iranian authorities will focus on organizing an election to appoint Raisi's successor set on the 28th of June. Reporting from Kuwait, I am Melchizedek Cadiz, your global citizen correspondent for God and for our beloved country, the Philippines.
The President of the United Arab Emirates will travel to South Korea next week after tensions in the Middle East canceled plans to visit the region last year. Gratiro Umore files this report.
UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan will pay South Korea a 2-day state visit starting on the 28th of March. The UAE leader will visit the East Asian nation at the invitation of President Yoon Suk Yeol. The talks will mainly focus on the status of their strategic partnership and ways to strengthen cooperation in sectors like trade, investment, energy, and technology. Sheikh Mohammed was supposed to visit South Korea in October of last year, but got postponed after the Israel-Hamas war erupted on October 7. President Yoon visited the UAE in January 2023 and secured investment commitments of $30 billion after a summit with the UAE president. Of this number, $1 billion will be used to invest in South Korean startups via a joint venture, while the rest of the fund will be used in strategic sectors such as nuclear power, defense, and clean energy. The UAE previously said it is ready to invest $30 billion in Asia's fourth-largest economy. Reporting from Dubai, I'm Gratero Omor, your global citizen correspondent for SMNI News Channel.
More than 500,000 birds were killed in Australia after more cases of bird flu have been detected at a farm in the state of Victoria. Trisha Molina has the report.
Cases of bird flu are spreading rapidly in the Australian state of Victoria. As of Friday, a second poultry farm in the state with a flock of 150,000 birds has shown cases of bird flu. More cases were detected just a few days after 400,000 birds were culled earlier this week. The data means more than 500,000 birds have been euthanized in one state for this week alone. The avian influenza outbreak has already infiltrated every continent in the world, including Antarctica. The news comes just days after Australian authorities confirmed that a child from Victoria became the first human case of bird flu in the country. Reporting, this has been Trisha Molina, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. the avenues of excellence are unlimited. That's all for this edition. For more news update, you may visit sm9newschannel.com or follow us on our official social media accounts on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Angel Pastor, and this is Newsline World.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Subscribe to SMNI News Channel and turn on the notification bell to keep you up to date. Also visit our official social media accounts and join our community on Viber and Telegram.